A cubic meter of it weighs about 860 kilograms. That's a cubic yard at about 2,000 pounds. An incredible amount of weight that pushes through this valley with the glacier. Here on the Athabasca Glacier, we don't have an accumulation zone anymore. You can already see most of the ice poking out beneath the snow that's fallen over the winter months. So already this early in the season, the snow is melting. This area, though, might have been an accumulation zone 2, maybe 300 years ago. Because it hasn't been since then, we can be pretty sure that most of the ice that we're traveling on did not form in this valley. It would have formed rather in the ice field. You see, the ice field is a much higher average elevation than the glacier that we're on right now. We're at about 7,000 feet, about 2,000 meters above sea level right now. The ice field is about 3,000 meters, about 10,000 feet above sea level, much, much higher. At those elevations, ice still does accumulate, one of the rare what we call accumulation zones in the Rockies. The ice field, the main part of it, is shaped a bit like a pie plate, and that pie plate is spilling over its edges. Any new ice that forms has to find somewhere else to go, and the paths of least resistance are the spaces in between the mountains that surround it. Valleys like this, then, take in the excess ice. So even though ice doesn't form here, it's always flowing in from the ice field down into this valley. Because of the way the Athabasca is fed by the ice field, we call it an outlet valley glacier, an outlet or extension of the ice field here in the valley between the mountains. Now the ice will continue to flow along, so if we were to stop the bus right now, we'd still be moving about 25 meters, about 80 feet per year. That's down towards the toe of the glacier. It moves quite a bit quicker in other parts of the glacier. Up the head wall, for example, where it's steeper, it can flow about a foot per day, about 125 meters annually. Now every once in a while what happens is we leave people behind out at the turnaround point. If that happens to you, consider of course the movement of ice. One of your options is to sit around for a while. Maybe not the best option, eh? It does. It takes about 150 years for ice to get from the head wall down to the toe, so you'd have to have some time on your hands. Hey, there are a couple other types of glaciers that I want to point out before we make our stop. Let's have a look to about 10 o'clock on the left-hand side right now, and between 9 and 10 o'clock, maybe I should say, right in between a couple of mountain peaks is the toe, or the end, of the AA Glacier. And we call that glacier the AA because of its location right in between two mountains whose names start with A. Mount Andromeda to the right of it, and Mount Athabasca to the left of it. We're only seeing about 5%, again, just the toe of the glacier. It stretches far back into the valley. And like the Athabasca, it is a valley glacier. They're both in between the mountains that surround it. Unlike the Athabasca, though, it's not fed by the ice field. That glacier is independent. We can't call it then an outlet valley glacier. We call it rather a hanging valley glacier, and that's because of the way it ends quite abruptly near the cliff. Now my favorite glacier in the area is actually just up ahead on Mount Andromeda, the Andromeda Glacier. I love that glacier because it's a bit different. It's a cirque glacier. Cirque is the Latin word for circle. And you know, these cirque glaciers, they have a tendency to form on top of mountains in a bit of a bowl-shaped depression. So when that glacier formed, there was probably a bit of a bowl that we see in Mount Andromeda. It wouldn't have been quite as deep though. You see, here in the Canadian Rockies, sedimentary rock, the very soft rock, is very easily carved out by glacial ice. So the glacier forms on that mountain and starts carving its way down, carving out the amphitheater shape that we see. It's still carving it out, even as we speak, in fact. We'll have an excellent view of the Andromeda Glacier from where we halt the bus at the turnaround point. We are going to stop here very shortly, and so there's a few things to let you know before we do hop on the bus. The most important thing, I want to really stress this, especially at this time of year, is the boundaries. You know, we've still got lots of snow on the glacier, and this snow is pretty hard after melting for so long. It's strong enough to cover up the hazards. It's holding itself over crevasses, over mill wells, and we really don't want anybody, of course, taking the risk of walking over some of that snow with a big huge hole underneath them. We take great care within the turnaround point to inspect for crevasses, inspect for mill wells every day, and so within that area we'll be safe. That being said, we really don't know what's outside of it. Boundaries are distinguishable by the higher banks, and I know you'll see lots of footprints going outside the banks. Please, all I can say is at this time of year, I'm pretty experienced with walking on a glacier, and I don't do it. I do have to read this sign here above my door. We want to watch out for holes like this too, eh? This has been a bit of a problem for us the last couple of weeks. This sign above my door here says Snowmobile Tours Limited does not assume responsibility for persons choosing to disembark on the glacier. Now that's just a legality. I mean, we gotta cover our backs. I guess that's the way it works. Take from it what you will. I mean, just like when you get out of bed in the morning, you do take a bit of a risk in hopping out of the bus. That's for sure. It is a glacier, and you'll want to take some caution, right? But that being said, I mean, it's probably, in my opinion anyway, it's a risk that's worth it. On a beautiful day like today, especially, we don't have many days like this. I mean, it's the kind of day where I get excited to go out, and I get to go 5-6 times a day, right? So I mean, enjoy it. If there's anything I can do to help out there at all, come find me. I'd love to be of assistance. If you want a picture as a couple or a family, you can come find me and I'll take it for you. Also, if you've got any questions, there's really no better time than right now, and so come and let me know. As far as time goes, we want to be on our way. Here. We want to be on our way back in about 20 minutes. So take 20 minutes from now and then head back onto the bus. If you lose track of time, listen to the honk, okay? I'll give it 1 honk when I want you to start heading back, 2 honks is make haste, and 3 honks is wave goodbye. Have you heard that one already? That's all throughout the rock.